Yo, guys, I hope you're well. So, guys, what is going on between Elon Musk, the CEO of X, and our Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer? Guys, let's dive into it.
Meanwhile, Danica, the boss of X or Twitter, Elon Musk, is in a brawl with Britain's Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. I must say, is acting like a weak man trying to be strong during this crisis. Starmer tweeted,
Oh my goodness. They're not even arm punches. Really? I don't even want to comment on that, people. That is no. Let's move on.
"We will not tolerate attacks on mosques or on Muslim communities," to which Musk quite reasonably replied, "Should you be concerned about attacks on all communities?"
I like that. So shouldn't you be concerned with attacks on all communities, people? That is a very fair question to ask. And that is a question that most common sense people in the UK are asking and demanding to be answered. And so far, Sir Keir Starmer has turned his back on us. Really? He's turned his back on us and he said he's not interested. So this is the first time, people, that I'm actually seeing this tweet. I'm not on X, I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on most social media platforms, people. So I don't really know 100% what's going on. So let's see what. Okay. So, right. I get it now. Sorry, guys, I had to look at this. So the first part of this is Sir Keir Starmer. And then the second part is possibly a response from Elon Musk. I might be wrong. So if I'm wrong on this, guys, it's just because I haven't been on Twitter or X or something for many, many years. So let's check this out. So Keir Starmer says, "This is not protest, it is pure violence." Then he goes on to say, "We will have a standing army of public duty officers." So it's even the language. You have to look at the language that politicians use. To be fair, most times when people will send tweets and you'll hear sound bites and you'll hear information on the news, the language has been very carefully thought out, people. It has been very carefully thought out. So I don't like the use of the word army, because army tends to me to mean you're going to war with someone. And if you're going to war with the public, then that is not a good thing if you're the government. You should always be working with the public because you are absolutely a servant of the public. You are here to serve the public, not the other way around, people. Although it looks like you guys have got it twisted. So Sir Keir Starmer said, "This is not protest, it is pure violence." I think there's a lot of people who might beg to differ. There are some elements who've made this about violence, but most people were protesting. So I beg to differ with that first statement. And then, of course, you know what I feel about him using language like army. So there's a standing army of public duty officers, and we will ramp up the criminal justice. So again, I've got my own viewpoints on the criminal justice. The criminal justice system and all of its machinations should be there to serve and to deal out justice even-handedly to the public. So yes, I do understand in certain elements that they wanted to rush through some of these arrests, convictions, and then sentences, etc. But where is the fairness where other people who have been on the wrong end of a criminal activity, criminal violence, are now stuck in the system, waiting sometimes months, sometimes years to get their day in court and to get justice? Where is that even-handedness? I don't know, people. And he said here, "We will apply the criminal law online as well as offline." So I think this is where you have the outcome from the Cobra meetings, people, because what they're looking for is areas and ways to curtail people from getting together, from communicating and from talking and speaking. Because to be honest with you, once they think a few people are gathered together, they must be involved in whatever. So this element of rioting has fallen into the government's hands because now they're looking to reform and review communications and media online. And this last one here is, we will not tolerate attacks on mosques or on Muslim communities, which is correct. But then it must be even-handed. So for Christian churches and for other demographics and for other communities, you have to be even-handed with them. And then the last thing here is, our man here, Elon Musk, has said, shouldn't you be concerned about attacks on all communities? And that's what I've always said, Pete, because what it's all about is divide and rule. So if you start to move more one way, you move against the rest of the population. You have to bring everyone together, people, or just leave them spread and split apart. That is my thinking, people. And you need to look at the bigger picture and to bring everyone together, not to alienate one part of the population in favour of another. That's just my viewpoint, people. It's always been my viewpoint. So Elon Musk has said, shouldn't you be concerned about attacks on all communities?
Isn't Musk right? Hasn't he put a finger on something that's angering the anti-immigration rioters who talk about two-tier policing?
Absolutely, Andrew, because this is what's been bubbling under the surface for so long. This is why the anti-immigration protesters are so angry. And the more that they keep being called racists and bigots, the more that pressure cooker continues to boil. And as we've seen in the last week, it's absolutely exploded.
I like the way this lady has said that Danica has said that this pressure cooker has continued to boil as it exploded. We had similar situation back in the 2011 riots. Pressure cooker. And once again, that's because there are underlying elements that are going on which have not been listened to or heard or deliberately ignored. And they've been allowed to simmer until they've exploded. You have the same situation here. But in contrast to what happened in 2011, what's happening here is it's all been labelled and dumped into one little package, and that package is right-wing thuggery. And if you've got a magnifying glass, which I have my magnifying glass here, people, and if you shone it on the causes, there would be a whole myriad of causes of why the riots happened over the last week or so. So to put it all into one little box and label it as right-wing thuggery was really not a very good thing to do. But I understand why they did that, because it helped to push forward their own cause and their own agenda. It's literally something terrible happened, but there were elements of it that's fallen into the government's lap that have made and enabled the government to run with it. And run with it they are, people. Run with it they are.
What we've seen with Keir Starmer's response, as well as the mainstream media in the UK, is this guilt that gets thrust upon white people who are historically perceived to have privilege, and therefore, no, it can't possibly be the fault of ethnic minorities or migrants. It's this perception of unconscious bias. Therefore, it's so easy and safe for Keir Starmer to take that safe route and not say we need to look after all communities. It's just...
So this is the thing, people, and this is the absolute crux of this conversation. If, as this lady Danica has said, that it's all been thrust on the right-wing thuggery, I can't say it, sorry, my tongue twisted, right-wing thuggery. Try and say that, guys, a few times. It's difficult. Then why can we not debate this in Parliament in full view of the whole world watching? Why can we not debate this? And this is what most sane and common sense people are asking for. We are saying there are elements, vast myriad of elements that have led to this situation. A myriad. And they all need areas from the government to look at and to speak to the different areas and different people in the communities to actually say, how can we improve matters? The vast majority of people in this country are not looking for provocation. They're not looking to provoke inequalities in the society. They're not looking to cause distress. They're not looking to rise up and rebel, as would be thought by the comments of the government. The vast majority of people want to get up and live their lives without being interfered with on any such stage. They just want to get up, go out, do their job or whatever it is, come back home, relax, and that's what they want to do. But if there are situations that are festering, that are preventing people from being able to do whatever they want to do in their own diligence, people, then we need to speak about it. We need to debate it. We need to get the right people all around the table to talk about it, to hear person A's view, to hear person B's view, to hear what can we do? What can we do to bring the community together rather than to split it asunder? Because right now what's happening is this community, vast communities, are being split asunder, and whatever's happened that's led up to the riots is now going to fester and get even worse. This is my opinion, and I'm thinking that we really need to start to talk about and debate it as quickly as possible. Yes, if someone is breaking the law, the justice system should be there, enforced to kick in, etc. But at the same time as that, you need to look into the root causes of why these situations are occurring. Because if you don't, they will reoccur and reoccur and reoccur again with ever deepening responses and results. Not responses, results. So yeah, it's something that really needs to be brought to the Prime Minister's focus, and to say, listen, you need to really do something about this.
It's all about the migrant communities, and you can't just lump everybody into this far right category when there are so many people who are genuinely concerned about the state of migration, which has clearly failed in the UK, and the state of integration. And that's not just also happening in the UK, Andrew. There are obvious concerns.
Sorry, I like that. Migration and integration in the UK. That was a good comment.
Concerns back here in Australia, but our leaders are so scared of being called racist that it's just easy for them to take the safe route, which is what we're seeing with Keir Starmer.
Wow, the safe routes. So guys, what this government has failed to grasp is that you cannot raise one group or section of the population by deliberately and negatively impacting another, particularly when you demonize them and you beat them up in the eyes of the public. Whatever happened to communication, talking, negotiating, and seeking harmony? This strategy that this government is adopting is totally negative, and it's steeped in division and sowing more seeds of mistrust, hate, and anger amongst the people. It will only entrench the views and inflame the mood, and bad feeling all around. I really don't get it, unless it's deliberate. Guys, make certain you look after yourselves, you look after each other, and guys, please make certain you come back to the next Urb'n Barz reaction, guys. I'm out.